Hello, welcome to Hidden Values, the show where I, your host, Noah Price, go through JRPGs and RPGs, whether classic, non-classic, indie, or even just sometimes not even JRPGs. I like to look at the hidden values or the influences that may be within the games we play, just because as a Christian, I think it's very important to understand what we might consume, especially if it's something that could be, let's just be honest, pagan or secular, that could also possibly pose us to sin. So I think it's kind of helpful to look at the games we consume. The game we are covering today is the game called I Am Setsuna. This is an RPG created by none other than Tokyo RPG Factory. They created this game all the way back in 2016, and this was their very first game that they created. Tokyo RPG Factory made this game with the sole purpose of just giving back to new people who are playing games and enjoying games. They themselves have grew up playing video games and they loved it, and they want to share that same feeling, that same experience by making their own games. When looking at the game I Am Setsuna, you could see their intent in this game. Not only because it looks genuine in every aspect, it doesn't look fake or hollow in any ways, but the style that they chose when making this game is just, it's out there, and you could totally see that they're going from their old memory. This is the first real game to really go back and look at classic JRPGs, specifically in the 1990s, which are kind of considered the golden age of RPGs and JRPGs, and going back and kind of doing a reimagining of that in today's technology. So the developers were looking at games like the early Final Fantasy games, but specifically when looking for the battle system, they chose Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is known for its popularity, and it was known for the popularity within the staff at Tokyo RPG. They chose Chrono Trigger's battle time active battle system, and also the battle system's combo system that Chrono Trigger has, which is still somewhat unique today. I Am Setsuna has a unique story to it though. Its setting is in a snow wonderland, filled with a not quite a wondrous theme. On the journey of I Am Setsuna, you are a main character who joins with a bunch of other characters on a sacrificial pilgrimage. This game overall has a sorrow or sadness theme to it. Now, the developers put in so much work of trying to emphasizing the sorrow throughout this game and this game's story. This game has a lot of characters dealing with grief beyond just sadness. This theme parallels with the idea of its setting of being in winter. Winter is looked at as probably the biggest time for depression. A lot of times people are more alone during this time. So this theme of sadness fits within its setting. Now, I'm not saying there's no joy in this story. There's a lot of fun moments in it within this small bleak overtone. And I think it's still a good journey and a good story within it, especially what is brought up when talking about going on a sacrificial pilgrimage. On this sacrificial pilgrimage, what they're giving up is not something so small, but something that's big. It's human life. And the question of what is the value of life comes into play. Now, we're gonna take a little stop and we're gonna talk a little bit more about pilgrimage and how it relates to today's setting and today's world, and see if we can find some correlation. So I'm gonna go to my desk. Let's go talk about it. So we're here at my desk and we're going to be talking a little bit more about holy pilgrimage and what it looks like for different religions. When looking into the idea of going on a pilgrimage, and specifically as a holy pilgrimage, majority of religions actually recognize the idea of going on a holy pilgrimage and its importance. Holy pilgrimage, or starting from one spot and going on a journey to a destination of a holy place, location, and either putting honor and serving there or just visiting, is basically what a holy pilgrimage is. And some of these places that you would go visit are special for different reasons. Some of them are, in some religions, considered the origins of certain gods, while some places are actual temples that are just considered holy places. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you would want to go on a holy pilgrimage yourself. Some of it is for just simply appreciation. Sometimes when you're far away from what you believe, it's hard to have that emotional connection to it. And actually going to some places and visiting it, if you truly believe in its importance, it just helps a little bit more visually to actually make a real connection with that place. Another part is it's simply a spiritual journey. While you're going on it, you're separating yourself from what you normally do to sacrifice time and in order to dedicate towards what you believe in more devotedly. And again, we have all sorts of religions in this factor that does this. Like, I'll just name a few. Like for Buddhism, we have the place at Lumbini. And for instance, for Sikhs, we have the Golden Temple they would go visit. For Islamic believers, we have the place called Mecca, and all these places have different kind of significance to them. Some of them are considered literal holy places, where some just represent a history. Like the place Palatina, for the people who believe in Jainism, this believes to be a sacred place of just harmony among human beings and animals and nature and life, and all together it's all holy, and there's actual a Jain temple there. And for Jainism, it's literally looked at as the holiest place on earth. And one of the funniest ones for me, I just thought was Sri Pada, which is located in Sri Lanka. And this one is technically looked at as 4 different religions as being holy. It's followed by Buddhism, Islam, Hindu, and also Christianity. What I love about this is that the significance of the different religions for this place. So for Buddha, like they believe this is literally footprint of Buddha's here. Muslims believe that it's literally Adam's footprint there. And Hindus literally believe that like this is footprint of Shiva. So like all these significance. And then my favorite part is that it's the footprint for Christians. It's St. Thomas. Out of all of them, it's like these bigger significance, these bigger deals. But when you look at it as a Christian of St. Thomas, like sure, it's cool, but like it doesn't have as much significance compared to the other religion. I just love it. It's like, oh cool. Like if it, instead of St. Thomas, it was like Paul or something like that, like still cool, but it's like he's still a human being, so it's like kind of it's just small things I love about this. But if you were to say, hey, I want to journey here and pay my respects or show homage to this, or even do a little ceremony there, taking that journey and going over there could be considered a pilgrimage. It specifically would be considered a pilgrimage if you literally set it apart and be like, no, I'm gonna take this serious. The whole journey is gonna be me with that mindset of I'm going to this destination to visit this thing and pay homage. That would literally be that mindset is going on a holy pilgrimage. Let's jump back over to our main spot and let's talk a little bit in depthly what this means for I Am Setsuna and some things I found about it specifically that I thought was interesting, comparing to what we saw a little bit here with real world holy pilgrimages and compared to what it looks like in the game and some thoughts I have on it. Okay, let's go. When looking at I Am Setsuna, there's some interesting themes that I saw that actually kind of correlates with Christianity. Now, to just put it out there, I tried to do some research into looking at I Am Setsuna's pilgrimage and what it might have connected with, of which religion, and I couldn't find any that really relates. The game is set in a way that's not really meant to be specifically connected to any religion and its own idea of holy pilgrimage. I mean, a lot of it we can see today because we don't have any holy pilgrimage today to where you are going and sacrificing yourself to put off some kind of threat. That's what happens in the game. The whole point of the sacrificial journey is because there's monsters swarming the area and they have to keep on doing it continually, year after year, to push off this threat of monsters. They have to kill someone's life. One has to die for the many. But as a Christian, funny enough, this is literally what was going on for Christians. When looking at the Bible, it's separated into 2 sections. It's separated with the Old Testament and the New Testament. And the Old Testament has a big old system, and that's where we get the Old Testament laws, the 10 Commandments. Laws that Christians are supposed to follow to stay holy, to not sin. It's to help prevent sins be separate and be set apart for God. And throughout the Old Testament and even to the New Testament, we see the reality that humans can't follow this. We're broken human beings and we aren't perfect. We can't meet these standards. Kind of the point of the law. The point is we can't do it ourselves. We can't earn God's love and we can't stay holy. We just can't. So we needed something else. And that's where Jesus Christ comes in. Jesus Christ, or God himself, the Trinity, came down as man and died for us. He himself came down and sacrificed himself for all of us. Before that, we had this festival called Passover. Passover is the celebration of looking back at what happened in the book of Exodus. In Exodus, God's people are slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. So God, using signs and using his servant Moses, they exodus from Egypt, and the signs that happened, the very last sign that God uses to Pharaoh is called Passover. God's people were commanded to sacrifice lambs, and with blood, cover their doorposts, and that would be a sign, basically them making a declaration in some sense of to God and following God and having faith in Him. And within that sign, God went over and killed every firstborn. I know, sounds messed up. It's God, take it up with Him, don't take it up with me. Passover was looked at as this time to go here. And later on we see it where they would all come to Jerusalem once gaining the promised land, and they would all sacrifice there to push over sin. We were still held under the law at this point. It's actually after Exodus that we got the law, the 10 Commandments. And what we see here is the literal sense of annually we would have to go and sacrifice to push off sin. When we sacrificed our sins, literally taking another life, or animals in this sense, to pay for the sins that we've done, it didn't relinquish that sin. It just pushed it back. It pushed it so that we didn't have to face that wrath, which the punishment for sin is death. And so we were just holding off. We're like, oh no, death don't come, death don't come. Monsters don't come, push off so that we can stay alive and not die. And so we don't see it till here where Jesus Christ comes in the New Testament and actually gives up His own life for us. The only person who could do it, God Himself, the only person that's holy and perfect. And it's through that process is broken. And not to spoil anything, but that kind of happens too. I'm not saying this is literally making points to Jesus or even Christianity. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the themes that happen in the story structure of that process of being stuck in that and having to break free is the same themes that we see here. I just thought that was really interesting. But that is going to have to do us for today. Again, I don't think I found anything that was really heavy pagan-like, nothing that was disarming or anything that Christians should worry about if they want to play this game. I think they should play this game. It's a great story, and even with the overtone of sadness, it's not a way that's disheartening, and you shouldn't not want to watch it because it's like, oh, I don't want to feel sad. It's a great story. And some of the stories of how the characters go through the grief process is great and beautiful. And I just had a good time with the old-fashioned battle mechanics of Final Fantasy. It doesn't even have a big old scale of nowadays standards of JRPGs where there's so much content. It's so many hours of content. It's like, no, this is pretty short. No fluff is in there. So yeah, I like this game. I think you should totally play it. But that's gonna do it for today. I'm Hero Scrub, not Hero Scrub. I'm Noah Price. I do have a channel, another YouTube channel called Hero Scrub, where I actually play these games sometimes and I play other games and all that stuff, but that's gonna do this today. I'm heading out here, okay? Okay, bye. What if I charge this? Wow, look at that damage. The damage! Oh, we're getting more lag! Okay, it should be better though. It shouldn't be as much lag, right? That is the